She was like, how many of you watched, I'm sorry, so, she was unique. How many of you know the show Gunsmoke? It's an old time kitty with red hair. She ran the brothel. I mean, it's not really bad, for God's sake. She had ran the brothel, you know, or the bar, and had the red piece hair. That was my grandmother. She had red hair. She died to the day she died. She had were in, you know, at that time, when her age. So she had this beehive do, and she would go in once a week to the beauty shop, and they would like tease it all up.
Was she Italian?
No, she was, Irish. Red hair. And and it was interesting, she was an accountant before women worked. And there was a hotel chain called Ramada Inn, and she was one of their accountants. And that woman wore high heels and short skirts and blazers till the day she died. She went really apartment A, and she drank like a fish. And I'm not saying water. Her name was Betty, Grandma Betty. And oh, yeah, she was married 7 times. She never alcohol, cigarettes. And she was just like, my dad was a jerk for her, but I wouldn't say, anybody was open there, watch, what happened to you. Road. So how was your fall tournament? So did you shoot? So when was the last time you fall? He came out, his pitch was he has anyone who lives there now, it's a lot. I don't need multiple living areas, I don't need, all that stuff. I just don't need it. My husband wants something that's super simple. If he calls it a walk and go home, where you can just walk it and go, and it's low maintenance, so we can travel, that's what he is. But he's also, my husband's older than me, he's also fun, anything that requires yard work, those kinds of things. And just all kind of stuff. I have to help. I did some of the stuff I had, like, trimming your trees and bushes. I had to do that. I'm such a klutz. I would have fallen off the tree or shot my arm off or something trying to do it. So I did do that. But I was pretty resourceful. I would do my own mulch, leave my flower beds. Not he does it all. But I told him, when we got married, I told him, I was like, I'm not doing it. And I'm trying to say, well, he's a bird. And then now fast forward, he's like, I don't want to do it. Okay, good morning. How are you all? Can you believe your town wire? We finished really our last lecture on Monday. So we're going to kind of just do a brief overview of all the 4 Ps, and we're just going to do a class discussion, and just have a little fun with it, I guess. I think it's fun. You probably will say, Karen, you need a lot. I think this is fun. Okay, so we're going to talk about marketing and the 4 Ps, and we're going to do it through the lens of colleges, because you know what, that's what I do. I'm marketing colleges. So you're going to kind of like my biggest focus group, but we're going to do it through price position. Well, the first thing let's talk about is when you choose a college, what factors matter most, and how do these factors impact? Let's just look back when you were a student, or second student. What were things that you thought of when you were looking at college? How far away from my home it was? Were you one of these that wanted to be far away or close by? Far away. I'm trying to think of, thank you. I was. Yes. Yeah, that's true. Okay, surprise.
Education factors.
Break it down. What do you mean by education factor?
Like you guys have the best business school.
Program reputation?
Yeah, other people have maybe like the best athletic program, whatever.
Okay, what else? Scholarships?
Graduation rate. Acceptance rate.
Yeah.
I didn't look at that, but maybe some students do.
Well, there's certain things that fall under demographics, not just ethnicity, but this is probably where my head was at when I was a senior in high school. I want to know the guy to girl ratio. I did not want to go to a school where there was a ton more women than there was men. I wanted to date. Like, I want a good coefficient. I do not want it to be like, how's my date better than her date? I didn't want that. Size. Okay, like the size of school.
Yeah, like in terms of the population.
Okay. Anything else? Student life? Student life, and what did you say? Okay.
Weather.
Weather. Hold on a minute, it's gonna change, right? Yeah. Sure. Anything else you can think of?
Job opportunities maybe,
Post-graduation opportunities?
or youthful opportunities, like you can go to study.
Okay.
You better than me, I would just put jobs.
Okay, anything else? There's no right or wrong answers. Okay. All right, so, okay, so then let's do this. Which one of these factors, do you think is controlled by the institution?
Pricing.
Pricing, on pricing. Scholarships. Okay. Facilities. Size of school. Work study. Anything else?
Location is something.
Location and distance from home, that's a perception of,
Oh, I was thinking just location of where it was.
but you know what? You're bringing us to the next point. What are these are based upon, let me make sure I phrase it right. I know what I want to say in my head, but it doesn't mean it's gonna come out right. So with these decisions as a student that you're looking at, what is maybe based upon fact and based upon perception?
Student life is based on perception.
Okay,
Graduation rate and demographic.
okay, I'm gonna say fact. The graduation rate and what demographics? Okay. Program reputation is perception.
Probably.
Was your call to action, get away from home? Like when I said, get away from home, apply now? Is that what it's done, your call to action? Okay, what else would be considered fact or perception from a student's lens? Like you are looking at Texas Wesleyan, right? Just think of your
Post-grad.
opportunities. Anything else we're missing?
I think we kind of put the weather into the student's perspective because everyone likes different kinds of weather.
Yeah, warm, cold, who knows what. Okay. Okay, so then when we think of this, what do you think? Okay, think through Texas West, but any institution, what do you think it is? What product is an institution providing beyond a degree? So what do you think, what are we delivering as Texas Wesleyan? We'll just use our beyond a degree. What are we providing you?
Skillful.
throwing marker, would be one. Skill development. Okay, what else? Or what is it that you want the university to provide beyond a degree? That may be a better question. Knowledge. Opportunities. Okay. What else? What is, okay, so some of you who are gonna seek a second degree, like what, you're gonna get a master's, or perhaps a doctorate, whatever, right? Think through the ones, if you're a student that's saying, I'm gonna go straight through and get my MBA, what would you want beyond your undergrad to get you your MBA? Anything that we need to add? No.
We also have 4-1 programs. Certain graduate work and undergraduate.
Okay. You want a seamless, kind of like I want to put a seamless transition. Simplify. We're calling it master's. That's what we call it here. Where you can get a master's, undergrad and grad in 5 years. Okay, so then we're gonna say, okay, how do elements like campus culture, faculty relations, this is all going somewhere, I promise. We're just gonna segment it now, which is what you would do as a marketer. So when we think of how do elements like campus culture, faculty relationships, and career outcomes shape the product, shape the university, shape what we are delivering to you? And if it helps people started. Okay. How do elements like campus culture, we can talk about facilities, it can be anything, shape the product in which we deliver. We deliver education, we help deliver, so how does that shape the products? I'm selling a product to you. I'm selling a product, not our service, right? I'm selling, come to Texas Wesleyan to get your degree. And if you get your degree, then you can accomplish anything you want. So there's all these factors that decide whether a student wants to come to Texas Wesleyan, right? These are all factors, right? But I'm still, at the end of the day, I'm selling that degree, I'm selling that service. What of these or anything else helps shape the product that you're selling?
If they push having like a good student life and like a lot of work study opportunities and stuff like that, then it can help people to be like, okay, I'm gonna have a lot of networking opportunities, get to know my peers, have people like see me from other events and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a factor.
Something gotcha, because they're now they're becoming relational. Okay. This right here, the opportunities. Yeah. Anything else you see?
Better facilities will give you a better experience, easier student.
Okay. Okay, so then now let's think of all these universities that are in our area. Okay, I'm gonna start with red. We have TCU, I'm just putting these up here so you can think about them. UNT. Tech, because now they have a campus here around Dallas Fort Worth. UT Arlington. Tarleton. Now Texas A&M downtown. Then what we just think in our area, we have UT Dallas. We have University of Dallas. And we have UNT Dallas. SMU. I'm sure I'm missing some.
The Texas one.
Yep, thank you. And then we have online colleges offering online degrees, like Phoenix, McNeese University, Liberty. I'm trying to think of all the colleges that offer online, so you can go anywhere, that's now coming to the Dallas marketplace and advertising. You've seen them on commercials. The one that has the bus that goes around and hands off diplomas during graduation in their hometowns, I can't remember. Anyway, so, and then we have Texas Wesleyan. So when we think of all these factors that we've talked about, we have this. How would, and we'll just say we're at Texas Wesleyan. How do we differentiate ourselves from a very crowded marketplace? Texas Wesleyan offers a lot of scholarships, okay? And it can be perception or fact.
A lot of the smaller order.
And why is that resonating with you?
So I just touched on Texas, the less, a smaller number of cities.
Okay,
Kids need relationship with students to help them grow for interpersonal relationships.
okay. What else?
Location,
Location. What about location?
you guys are in the middle of everything, so you have the perfect location.
Okay, what else?
Opportunities.
Okay, what kind of opportunities?
You guys have a lot of alumni that are in like higher up jobs. You guys call all those students to come back and mentor other students. We're networking with them.
It's getting messy. Okay, what else? Everybody picked this place for a reason. So what was, Smaller Smarter was one, scholarships might have been one, location was another,
Sports.
sports. What do you mean by sports?
Just having teams, having a wide variety of sports, golf, soccer.
The relationship you guys have with other schools,
Such as,
you can see like regular students, you come here, keeper or pastor or.
okay. Okay,
We have a safe campus.
safe campus.
Super safe.
That's super safe.
I wouldn't really say we have a safe campus, but that's just.
Okay, so why do you think we don't know, so just out of curiosity?
Or like none of the gates like the locked like around like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cause I get where I park, like, if I get here super early, which I do sometimes, I can't park there at all the way around, that is not gated. Cause I would park back where the athletics building is, the sandwich between the dorm. So it would be a lot. Question mark, safety?
Yeah, it's like soccer field, like the area around it's really shady, like we have all the people coming to the field all the time while we're practicing and stuff, like sometimes cause scenes.
Because they don't realize it's private property, or is it?
And that, or just one.
You know, and how people are. I'm gonna see, they have a pretty good consensus. Okay. So would you talk about, when you think of our fields, would you think of, would you lump that under facilities, or would you just lump that into like, it's just open and vulnerable?
So we kind of like, the turf fields can be pretty nice as far as like the safety wise with, I've never seen the part of it. You know, that's like just off like Collard and Lancaster, it's like the gates typically locked, but pretty easy to go under, jump over. And then it's like whatever there, it's typically open. And during games, we typically have police there, like one cop over there.
Yeah.
But during practice, we don't really have anything there.
For games, they do just because it's required. Yeah. Okay, so what else? This side, this was one column has been quiet. You pay tax wise for something, you're already an ambassador. You sell it every day. What is your reason for coming to Texas? What would you say? Yeah. What you've already said. Help her out. She's thinking.
I was gonna say like on the athletic side, not just like having teams, but like regular.
Ah. Okay. What else? Anything else that jumps out at you? So we didn't mention, so out of curiosity, I'm just gonna say, it doesn't have to be over here. Student-wide. Kind of mentioned a little bit of post-grad opportunities just by networking. We mentioned size of school. We mentioned scholarships, what have you. Program reputation. Did anybody choose Texas West because of program reputation? Okay, so let's talk about program reputation. So what would be, what are things that you look for when you think of program reputation? If you're saying, okay, program reputation is why I would want to go to X campus, what would be the criteria that I would use as a prospective student for program reputation? Is it like, yes,
Some of the national rankings.
okay? What else? And, yeah. What else? Quality of faculty, perhaps, like if you knew, well, UT, Austin, for example, they have a film school. Matthew McConaughey is one of their instructors. Would you not think that is?
No,
No, okay.
not film school.
Not in film school? He's teaching a director's class? No?
Yeah.
Did you like Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah, but I'm not, like, sometimes at school, when you,
You don't think, okay. All right, well, that's a good question.
I mean, unless you were there.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, Karen Cantrell's there. So we're all gonna transfer over. I'm gonna go to UT. My money goes to A&M. Yeah, I'm gonna take some wrestling, right? I'm gonna take wrestling. What else? When you think of program reputation, what else would you look at? Right? Anything else? The world happens in threes. Yes.
If it leads to like job opportunities afterwards.
Okay. So we do, when we did, we were able to ink out, here, 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 here. Okay. So we're making some progress, we're seeing some connections. I want to sidebar real quick on successful alumni. When you think of successful alumni, when you think of the word successful to alumni, like what is it, what do you define as successful alumni?
Jobs held.
Okay. Jobs they hold. How soon they really get the job? Okay. To get first job or a top job?
First job, and then have a long term.
Well,
You like their reputation in that job.
reputation in industry maybe? Okay. Yes,
Go like good accolades.
okay. Okay. Anything else that resonates? How does it feel to be marketers? That's what you're doing. For Texas Wesleyan right now. Okay. Apparently I can't log into my laptop because I can't see if I'm please. Okay, so then here's a good question. So what happens if the perception of Texas Wesleyan doesn't align with what you thought it was? So let's say, think of, and we always have students that come and they're like, this really isn't for me. I went to Texas Tech, loved Texas Tech, was there for 3 years. There, you know, I enjoyed my time. I transferred for myriad of reasons. But once I got into North Texas, UNT, my first thought was, well, let me backstory. I grew up in Dallas, I actually grew up in Carrollton. Everybody, you know, I never thought of North Texas. It's literally, I felt like it was the high school up the street. Because it was like literally, I pulled out on 35, went straight 30, 40 minutes maybe, and there was North Texas, and I was like, that's back in my backyard, that's going to college, girl. So I was like, no. So what did I do? I went somewhere far away. I went to Texas Tech, loved it, was there 3 years, and then I get to the point of, okay, now I really want to talk about what I want to do for a living. Now I kind of have honed in, and then I started seeking out best colleges for journalism, public relation majors. A lot of Texas Tech, but they didn't rank pretty high up. I mean, they were okay, they had a good product, but I didn't want a good product. I wanted great. So I picked up between my junior and senior year and moved to North Texas. Because North Texas came out as like the top program. I even was like, really? Can we talk about maybe this school? I mean, I was bringing other schools up. In my mind, I kept thinking, UNT is up the street, that's my high school, what does that say about me? Well, no, it was ended up being the best program. I transferred, I was scared to death because here I am, I'm leaving my sorority, my best friends, I'm moving back, I'm gonna live by myself, not that that was that big of a deal, but I had roommates and I loved my roommates. And I walked on class, and it's my first day of school, my mom calls me, because we didn't have cell phones then. The landline rang, it was my mother, and she's like, how was your first day? And I literally said to her, Mom, I missed tech, I missed all the football things and all that. I said, but I know I made the right decision, because when I walked in, the caliber of my professors, I could tell a difference between what I had here and what I have there. It was not, I mean, and what they expected me to do, what the expectations of the classes were, I knew. I knew I was gonna walk out being able to accomplish everything I wanted to set my mind to. All that to say is that we all had experiences, we thought we were getting something, a product, and something that didn't live up to what we had expected in our mind. So if we think of, I'm marketing Texas Wesleyan, or marketing a university, here, let's just say, and it didn't live up to your experience or your expectation and what you thought the experience would be like, what happens? How do you feel?
When it doesn't live up to expectations.
Yeah.